Hey guys, what's happening? Thanks for stopping back into the channel today, right here with the Rustbelt Mechanic. Now, have you ever thought about the tool companies nowadays and how the bigger ones are getting bigger and bigger? Well, today I wanted to talk about one of the biggest ones of all, Snapon. Now, I know the irony is that a huge Snapon toolbox is sitting behind me right now, but I wanted to go through the top 5 reasons of why I think Snapon is a failing tool company in today's market. Stay tuned. Now, I'm also going to preface this by saying that this is going to be a 2-part series. This week, I'm going to do the one on my top 5 reasons why I think Snapon is going to be a failed company here in the near future. And then next week, I'm going to do one on my top 5 reasons why Snapon is doing a pretty good job still. So just to put out both sides of that one there, I didn't want to make a whole half-hour video. So this is going to be the negatives of that side of the coin. So for reason number 1, why Snapon is going to be one of the failing tool companies is going to be the cost of their tools. Right now, with all of the internet and everything going on, the cost of these tools is gradually going down because the access to these tools is become much, much greater. Technicians have access to be able to get tools from so many different companies. So in that sense, the competition is massive in the market compared to what it was 30, 40 years ago. 20, 30 years ago, all there was the big 3 tool companies and not even hardly that. So the choices for technicians to be able to get these tools were very low. They could pretty much charge what they wanted, and they actually did. Now, unfortunately, I think that sales model is highly out of date. You have to have the best of the best tools if you want to charge the best of the best prices. And I think today's technicians are catching on to that. They're a lot more frugal with their money. Today's economy, it's not always the greatest for guys, at least in our shoes. We have to scrimp and save for a lot of what we do. On top of that, we have to pay for all of these tools ourselves. So the shops aren't buying them for us. We have to buy our own tools. The cars these days are getting more and more advanced, so we have to have more and more advanced tools. We have to pay for a lot of stuff. Now, of course, right now we can't always afford the best of the best tools, so Snapon, I think, needs to start coming down in some of their prices, especially on their beginner things like sockets, ratchets, impacts, battery-powered tools. They really need to come down in the cost of these to be able to be competitive in today's market. Right now, these technicians, they're not able to see the value in the highest priced tools, especially when they're just coming out of school. They need to be given more opportunities to buy things that are at a better level that still work just as well in the marketplace for the kind of money that they're spending. So with all that said, that's why I'm thinking the number 5 reason for why Snapon will be a failed company here soon is going to be the cost of its tools. Now on for reason number 4. That is going to be warranty inconsistencies and the fact that their warranties are not competitive in today's marketplace. Right now, pretty much the golden standard for a lot of tool companies is lifetime warranty. Yes, Snapon does still have that on a lot of their hand tools, but that does not follow through with a lot of their electronic and other high-profile tools, such as testing tools, specialty scanners, and everything like that. In that sense, their warranties are really hitting some of the bottom of the bucket. Right now, a lot of the manufacturers for electronic tools, your cordless impacts and everything, they're having warranties anywhere from 3 to 5 years usually on average. Right now, we're seeing Snapon only having a warranty of 1 or possibly 2 years on some of their batteries. That's a pretty low line, especially right now with saying how many tool companies are coming out of the market with more of these electronic devices, testing equipment. There's a lot more big names coming into the game. So with that, I think if Snapon wants to come up in the tool market, I think they're going to have to step up their game with some of their warranties. With the cost of what their tools really are, especially in the specialty tools and electronics department, I think that they can afford to put some of that money back into some accounts for the warranty claims and or repairs of these tools. The repair side of Snapon is a pretty good program. They do have that one going on for them. I'm not going to knock that one. But as far as their warranty length of time, that's where I think that they have a major failure point, and I think they need to come up in things. So that's why I think that their number 4 failure point is going to be their warranty. Now on to the number 3 reason why I think Snap-on is going to be a failed company. It is the speed of their innovation. Now if you look at today's major tool companies, especially in the automotive field, Snap-on is the biggest of the big companies. They rake in the most amount of money, they spend the most amount of money on research and development, and especially advertising. So you would think with that much money coming in and them spending that much on advertising that they would have the newest, latest, greatest, most innovative tools on the entire market. However, that is not this case. Snap-on has fallen behind so far in the market when it comes to electric tools, impacts, all of their screw gun lines, their 14.4 line is not very advanced anymore when it comes to a lot of other brands that are coming up in the industry. SP Tools, Milwaukee Tools, Matco Tools. They're coming out with what seems like more innovative tools pretty much every month, or sometimes what seems like weekly. It's really impressive what some of these other tool companies are doing and coming out with new, greater tools, or at least remarketing and kind of upfitting the tools that they had in the past. Snap-on is really falling behind there. They've been so far behind on coming out with a brushless line. They've been really far behind on upgrading some of their ratchet and ratchet wrench designs. I know there's been a couple of forums online saying on how I think Snap-on should be changing their ratchets and some of their wrench designs to better meet the markets of today and maybe make them a little bit more affordable at the same time. But as I said, Snap-on is such a large company right now that I don't think that they're able to make moves really fast enough, which I'll get into that one here in a minute. But as far as their innovation, I don't see why they can't hire the best of the best minds in the industry to be able to come out with these new, latest, greatest things. The car and automotive industry these days is coming out with what seems like new technologies every single week also. And unfortunately, Snap-on is not the top end of the industry when it comes to some of the things that we need to service those vehicles. Even in the way of alignment machines, testing equipment for some of the chargers, the batteries, AC equipment, they're not the top of that game anymore. So there's a lot of things that they could fill the void with some more R&D and putting money into some of these bigger highline things that you would think they would be the best of the best at. So in that sense of mind, that's why I think the number 3 reason of why Snap-on will be a failed company is their lack of innovation. And that leads me into the number 2 reason why I think Snap-on will be a failed company. That is their overall size. Their size is what leads to their lack of innovation, like I said earlier, but also is what is leading to their slowness in adapting to market standards. This year, 2020, is the golden standard of market changes. Right now, every tool company is scrambling to try to get the attention of every person out there who's in the automotive industry, trying to get some of that little bit of stimulus money that was handed out to be able to, recapture some of their lost sales from earlier on due to the coronavirus. So these tool companies are trying to fight back, and some of the smaller ones are doing a really good job at that. They're doing really great things with advertising, they're using the internet, and they're able to put themselves out easier, faster, quicker. Now, Snap-on, a lot of them and their franchisees have had to make these purchases on their updates and some of their sales goals like 6, 8, 12 months ago. Some of these sales that they're having to put forward on their trucks, they were actually planned out upwards of a year ago, which is absolutely crazy because when those were planned out, obviously was pre-COVID, and right now some of these sales goals are not really even close to obtainable just because of what's going on right now in the industry. So unfortunately, they're not able to be kept up with today's market standards. They're falling behind. They're not able to keep up with what their customers want and need in the market, and they're not updating things nearly as fast. Their software standards are falling behind. A lot of their upgrades and services for some of their scan tools and everything have fallen behind quite a bit from what I've heard, and a lot of their warranty service claims are falling by the wayside. Tools aren't getting repaired enough, and you would think with the size of that company, they should be excelling in this market because, like we said before, they're the biggest company of them all, and they should be doing a lot better job at that. And that's why I say that's the number 2 reason of why they are going to be the failing tool company. And that leads me to the final and number one reason why I think Snap-on is going to be the failed tool company here in the near future. And that is their franchisees. Now, I have to say that this is going to be one of the major reasons why they're a great company also in the next video, but as far as the consistencies in their franchisees is what I'm talking about in this one. When I talk to a lot of my subscribers, the main reason and the number one thing that everyone always says on why they hate the brand Snap-on is because they've had a bad experience. Now, that bad experience didn't come usually with a broken tool or having to deal with some outdated technology that they had with it. No, it was with the experience that they had with a franchisee. These franchisees, they're independently run. Yes, Snap-on as a whole does have certain standards for them to meet, but they are not regularly policed as you think they would be. A lot of the guys that I talk to say that they have had horrible experiences. They've been ignored. Their warranties go unheard. They're not claimed with. And unfortunately, these bad experiences are what turn people off to the brand as a whole. It's horrible to hear that that one experience is what turns somebody off to an entire brand. Now, with the internet today, there's so many more options with people to choose, so that one bad experience is what is going to make the difference between a failed and a great thriving tool company. Snap-on, I think, needs to either A, deal away with the whole franchisees thing, bring everyone in under a corporate umbrella, and require more corporate standards for all the franchisees. To be able to have some of a golden standard for all these franchisees to adhere by is something I think that really needs to be looked into. I know they have sales goals, and people always say that, well, if you're a crappy franchisee, then you're just not going to make money. Well, some people that are in the franchisee part of this industry, they're there as more of a retirement job. They don't always need the money. It's just because they like being around and they like working with tools all the time. They like handling with some of their customers, and they don't really have to meet with all the customers if they don't really want to. Unfortunately, in that sense, that puts a lot of people off to the brand, and that's why I'd say that is the number one reason why Snap-on's going to be a failed tool brand. Now, I know I could have rambled on for another 15-20 minutes on this subject, but I think those were the top 5 reasons of why I think Snap-on is going to be a failed tool brand. Let's keep this conversation going down below in the comments. Let's hear some of your reasons on why you dislike or why you think Snap-on is not doing such a great job. Like I said, in the next week, I'll be doing another video on why I think they're doing a good job or what makes them a great company in today's standards, but we'll see that side of a coin next week. I appreciate everyone tuning in. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on that bell notification so you get notified when I come out with cool, awesome content just like this one here today. I appreciate it, and as always, you guys stay awesome.